Hey ladies and gents, I'm RF Rift. I'm a new streamer and YouTuber focusing on roguelikes. Today what I'm going to be talking about is a few quick tips, or 5 quick tips actually, for Astronarch. Now Astronarch is a super underrated roguelike. I think it's an absolute gem, and I know it's going to be getting a little more popularity as a new patch is about to drop later this week. So the goal is to give you guys a few things that you can use if you're new to the game, or even if you're someone who's a little more experienced with it. So let's talk about those right now. For the first tip for Astronarch is going to be set a goal for each run. When you first start out, you're only going to have 10 units. So there's going to be a few units that are going to be blacked out here. Your 10 units you're going to be starting with is the Berserker, the Wild Mage, the Pyromancer, Frostmancer, Cleric, Paladin, Assassin, Warlock, Juggernaut, and the Gladiator. So your goal, or what you're going to want to do, is set a goal for each run. Are you going to be trying to unlock units? Because as I just said, you're going to have a few that you're going to want to unlock. Are you going to be trying out a new team comp? Are you just going to be throwing something to the wind saying, hey, I don't know what any of these units do, let's see what works? Or are you going to be trying to win? Now, I know that's kind of a cop-out. You're always going to want to try and win every run. But are you going to be looking to set with your tried and true comp, the comp that you think is the best, and just go with it that way? It's important to have this set up because that way you can think, hey, if I'm going to try and unlock a bunch of units, I can set up my routes to better set me up there. I know you're going to have to maybe not hit any shops or take a certain amount of fights or a certain amount of events. So it's important to do this pre-run. Our second quick little tip for you guys is to make sure you are reading every single ability. Now, when you walk into Astronarch, it's a lot of information. I completely agree with you on that. But you want to make sure that you take the time to read every unit's ability so you better understand what it does, especially when you're looking at healers. Units like the Cleric, his Bless ability heals the weakest adjacent hero. And you got to make sure you know what adjacent means. So adjacent refers to anyone in the same 4 tile grouping, which means when you put your units together, you're going to want to make sure your healers are with the person you want to make sure you're healing. I know telling you to read abilities isn't really a great tip, or you might be saying, I'm going to do this anyway, but you would not believe how many runs I went on before reading that, oh hey, the Cleric also removes all stacks of a random negative effect. That's an awesome part of the ability that if you're not paying attention to, you're not going to realize what's happening. The third tip I'm going to be giving today is to make sure you plan your route. Now, this is something that if you've played things like Slay the Spire or FTL, you've probably already built this into any roguelike when you're running. But you want to make sure you take the time at the start of each act to say, hey, where am I going? What am I starting with? It's important to note also that each biome, I guess, has its own advantages and disadvantages. Some are going to be really good if you're someone who's looking to not cast any abilities. It might also be really bad if you're someone who's focusing on healing. So take some time to get used to the ruins, forests, and caves, as well as everything else as you progress. But make sure you take time to plan your routes. If you're looking at this screen right here, I'm not going to be able to hit all of the elites. Reason why is because these aren't connected. Or this elite is kind of, if it was over here, we'd be able to do it. So take the time to plan your route to make sure you're going to be able to optimize your run and make sure you don't miss anything that you would need along the way. The fourth quick tip for today is manage your morale. Now, morale is the life, or your life in this game. What I really like about the morale system in Astronarch is the fact that when you're working with it, if you lose a fight, you actually don't restart. The only time you will restart if you lose a fight is if you lose to the boss, no matter how much morale you have. But if I were to get into this first fight and completely lose it, I would just drop to 7 morale and keep going, which is a cool new aspect and a real awesome thing that is part of this game. But you're also going to notice that you're going to gain morale really quickly. A lot of these fights early on, you're going to probably flawless victory them, which will give you an extra 3 morale. So you want to make sure you use your morale, especially in events that give you bonuses. This is a resource. Don't treat it as you need to get it as high as possible. You can use this as a resource. If you win with 1 morale or 50, it doesn't matter. A win's a win. Make sure you use morale as a resource. For the last and final quick little tip I'm giving today is to prioritize elites. You heard me say earlier, hey, I'm not going to be able to hit all 3 of these elites in this act. The reason why I'm kind of sad about that is because how powerful elites are. Not the actual fights. The fights are pretty scary. But the fact that you get an ability orb to upgrade your units is the biggest part. I've ran up to Corruption 15. I've just completed it. I will prioritize elites every fight. Any chance I can get, if I can get all 3 elites, I will take them. There are some elites you will learn that aren't as nice depending on what comp you're using, but I will take every elite possible because the ability orbs are so dang good, ladies and gents. You need those to be able to upgrade your units, and the more upgraded abilities you have, the better your abilities are going to be, obviously, but also the stronger your run will be. Everything will get better if you are running it that way. So, ladies and gents, this has been my 5 quick tips for Astronarch for beginners. I'm going to be coming out with a couple more of these as time goes on, especially with the new patch coming out. But I wanted to give a quick little rundown for people who might be jumping into the game and getting a little bit overwhelmed, because there is a lot of intricacy with this game. Even though I know some people say the art is a little crazy, this is personally like my favorite setup and one of my favorite roguelikes ever. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching. Have a great day.